Every morning, under the shadow of Mount Ibuki in ancient Japan, a young potter named Hiroto worked late into the night, hands trembling as he reached for the pipe he had promised to quit. The habit seemed small, almost harmless, but it slowly stole his focus, patience, and the passion that once made his pottery admired across the region. Each day began with hope, each night ended with quiet failure. Every time he told himself, "Tomorrow I'll stop," tomorrow never came. One morning, after yet another sleepless night, Hiroto carried a set of carefully molded ceremonial tea bowls to a visiting nobleman. His hands trembled with exhaustion, the clay almost slipping through his fingers. As the nobleman lifted the first bowl, it cracked with a sharp, echoing snap, shards tumbling onto the polished wooden floor. Laughter cut through the quiet workshop like a knife. "Your hands have lost their fire," the nobleman said, each word dripping with mockery. The villagers, who had once admired Hiroto's skill, whispered behind his back, their pity and judgment sinking into him like cold water. The humiliation was suffocating, a weight pressing on his chest, and in that moment, every ounce of confidence he had left crumbled. That evening, Master Renji, the aging craftsman of the village, entered silently, found Hiroto sitting disheartened. He placed a bamboo scroll on the table with a single word etched on it, Kaizen. Renji said, "A craftsman does not fall in a single day, but he decays one small habit at a time." Then he advised a simple ritual. He said, "Place your hand on a spinning bowl of clay and take 5 slow, deliberate breaths, matching the rhythm of the wheel." The first task of Hiroto wasn't quitting his pipe. It was learning to pause, to ground himself, to reclaim control of the moment. For several days, Hiroto practiced the ritual, tasting small victories as his hand steadied and his focus returned. But after a week, one late night, hours spent shaping a ceremonial cup collapsed into failure after failure. Frustration swallowed him whole. The nobleman's insult echoed. He looked at the pipe. One step, another, and he was already in front of it. He whispered, "Just one," and lit it. The smoke bled into hours, leaving him emptied, defeated, and ashamed. The next morning, Renji didn't scold him or show anger. Instead, he introduced Hansei, the habit of looking at your mistakes honestly. Renji said, "Your failure isn't a sentence, it's information." Together, they asked 3 simple questions. What broke you? Why did it happen? What can you change so it doesn't happen again? That's when Hiroto finally understood. He didn't relax because he was weak, but because frustration took over. And with that realization, he understood the difference between punishment and clarity. After that, Renji taught Hiroto Kufu, the skill of solving problems creatively. Renji said, "If you cannot defeat a habit head-on, then outsmart it." Hiroto understood what Renji meant. He moved the pipe outside the workshop, rearranged his tools, shifted his schedule, and filled his space with reminders of the craftsman he wanted to become. He turned the 5-breath ritual into a daily anchor, not a reaction to craving, but a foundation for calm and control. Weeks passed, and Hiroto's hands grew steadier with each passing day. Eventually, the villagers began to notice. One afternoon, a traveling merchant passing through the village looked and picked up one of Hiroto's bowls, turned it in his hands, and said, "There is life in this." In that moment, Hiroto felt his dignity return. Renji then gave him one final lesson. A man does not conquer his demons by wrestling them, but by starving them. And as the seasons turned, Hiroto's craft and his spirit returned back to their full strength. Today, our world is full of its own distractions. Screens, endless notifications, unhealthy diet, and dopamine traps. We chase fleeting pleasures, blame ourselves for lack of discipline, and drift from task to task, never finding a rhythm. Yet the ancient system still works. Kaizen, Hansei, Kufu. Small steps, honest reflection, and deliberate adjustments anchor the mind, even amidst chaos. You do not need willpower to rise above your habits. You need structure. Tiny, intentional steps that compound over time. Moments of reflection to learn from mistakes. Solutions that make good behavior easier and bad behavior harder. This is not theory. It is a practical, tested system for mastering your life. Kaizen, the power of small, consistent improvements that build unstoppable momentum. Hansei, the courage to examine failure without shame, turning mistakes into lessons for growth. Kufu, the wisdom to redesign your environment so that the path of discipline flows naturally, effortlessly. These three pillars work together. One cultivates skill, another cultivates insight, the third cultivates conditions for success. You can apply this today. Pause before you check your phone. Take intentional breaths before diving into work. Rearrange your environment to reduce distractions. Turn reflection into a nightly ritual. Build habits in small, deliberate increments. Over time, tiny improvements compound. Frustration becomes insight, and discipline is no longer a battle. It becomes your natural state. So ask yourself, will you keep reacting to the chaos, letting notifications, cravings, and distractions run your day? Or will you take one intentional step today? One breath, one reflection, one adjustment. Build your life with intention, not reaction. Just as Hiroto reclaimed his craft, clarity, and dignity, so too can you reclaim your mind, your habits, and your life, one small, unshakable victory at a time.